Welcome to Pack the Rock podcast. Thank you all for joining us here on the Hoosier Network. I'm your host, William Stewart. Next to me, Ian Plaskoff, and across from us, Ava Wegenke and Nick Rodecap.
Doing the Ryan Walters head nodding gif.
Charlie Becker can finish it.
I don't think we need to see that. Yeah, that was funny, Charlie Becker.
That was awesome.
That was great.
You know what? That was awesome. If Will Howard can stomp out the cigarette, then Charlie Becker can go OHFU. I think it's fair game.
But it's bulletin board material.
No,
Nope.
fair game. Signetti started it. So does Ohio State. Will Howard continued it, stomping out the cigarette last year. Charlie Becker gets it back for Indiana. That's a rivalry.
This is one of the best budding rivalries in college football, and they play right here in Bloomington next year.
That's what sports should be about. Give me rivalries. Give me chirping between players and fans and coaches. That's awesome. That's cool. But Ohio State fans have to get up in arms about it, even though they were all over Will Howard for doing it last year. Let me say, I didn't have a problem with Will Howard doing it. And I said if Indiana didn't like it, they should play better. Guess what? They played better.
Well, shout out Hoosiers Connect for making the T-shirt of, it says, who sucks? Purdue, Ohio State, Michigan, and then all the above. And it checks all the above.
Did they spell it U-H-H-A-I-U-H?
No, they spelled it Ohio like you're supposed to.
Oh.
They did not do the Plaskoff
The-
phonetic spelling of aha.
I was at the post-game presser and all the post-game interviews and the Pat McAfee show because he says it like that too. There was so much aha going on, and it was awesome.
Aha.
Yeah. What a game.
Aha State.
What a game.
Hoosiers Connect also made a shirt that says Flippin' Champs.
Oh, that was
That's
my favorite
tough.
bit of the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's the most, like, you look up Fernando Mendoza in a dictionary, and there's a subsection that says, how would Fernando Mendoza celebrate winning a big game? And what word would he use? I think in that dictionary, you would see flippin' in that dictionary. And he said it was so he didn't put a bad rep on the university. Like, he thought of that before he said it was... Fernando's awesome. He's great.
Highly intellectual individual, Fernando Mendoza. Also, the shirts do exist.
Nice.
Man, just breaking things in here. And I'm
Atta
clicking
kid.
things. All right, there we go. Dang. Second time's a charm. Schools that suck and flipping champs. They do exist. Only broke the computer a couple times trying to get there.
You know, it's crazy that 700 and probably now 38 days ago on 739, something like that. Kurt Signetti walked onto the basketball court and said Purdue sucks, so does Michigan and Ohio State. And he's beaten all of them within 2 years.
Beating
And
them,
he's 4-0 against them combined.
beating them handily, you could argue.
Yeah. Purdue he beat 122-3. Michigan he beat in a primetime game at home,
20-13.
2015. And then he beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. And everything that Kurt Signetti has said is either correct or was incorrect at the time, but was early and is now correct.
What's the saying, Nick? Never wrong, just
Never
early.
wrong, just early. A saying that I know quite well. Because, well, if you go the route of NBA Centel, which I do not run, but I wish I did because that would be cool. I said after Brian Hartline posted that his team has the best quarterback, best running back, best receivers, best O-line in the nation, I said that maybe, just maybe, it would backfire on him, and the 300 Ohio State fans bookmarked the tweet. And I said, this is going to be a fun week. And Indiana wins. And I ask you, Ohio State fans, apologize. Just like Indiana fans should have apologized to Mike Woodson, if you were to ask Carlos Hoosier. I think that Ohio State fans need to apologize to me. Because I had you guys blowing up my mentions all week saying that, oh, you don't know what's coming, Buckeyes by 14. That's my response.
He did the
Apologize to Nick Rodecap. Never wrong, just early. Funny how that works.
I can confidently say it's the first time I've ever seen somebody go on their own demand an apology tour. Like that might be a first.
I'm just asking for what's due. I'm just asking for what's due because if you're gonna dish it out, if you're Ohio State, you got to be able to take it too. And they've shown that they do not take kindly to getting a little taste of their own medicine, and it's not a good quality to have.
I challenge you there in that, well, it may not even be a challenge, but the Buckeyes are reigning national champs, and they are not the Big Ten champs, but they are the champs of dishing out stuff on social media and not being able to take what comes back at you. And take that title, Ohio State. You've earned that one. Enjoy it.
So where's the challenge?
There wasn't really a challenge. It was just I'm pointing this out. They are the champs of that.
The word is observation.
Observation. Thank you. Yeah, they were all up in my social media too. And just saying stuff that had nothing to do with what was posted.
Shout out Twitter mentions.
Yeah. So Ohio State, you are the national champions of dishing out stuff on social media that you can't take in return when it backfires on you. So good job.
Granted, they're the reigning national champions, which is
That is important.
kind of helps.
But that was last year.
It was. Ava, were they in your mentions too? We just go around the horn here.
No, not in my mentions.
Lucky.
I didn't really tweet at Ohio State last week, everybody. I'll be so real.
I didn't either.
No, not in my
didn't
mentions.
either.
They were in the
Okay, I didn't. I kind of did.
you did.
When do you not tweet at somebody?
They were in the Hoosier Network account mentions though, but not my personal mentions.
God,
You had recruits in there too, right?
Yes.
There's a certain hate comment that I want put on a shirt. It's not gonna happen. I can't repeat what was said. That's how bad it was. I want that comment put on a shirt. Basically, somebody saying with very colorful language that Indiana didn't have a chance, and targeting us specifically and diminishing our mental capacity.
So
Us as in the four of us in this room.
Just the Hoosier Network as a
when you're
collective.
tweeting at the Hoosier Network,
Yeah.
this is who you're tweeting at.
Yeah.
So when you say mean things on the Instagram or on the Twitter, this is who you're tweeting at, everybody.
Don't call us mean stuff on the internet.
Please and thank you.
You can call me. You
I'm
can call
just
me
here to
mean
post
stuff
a
on the internet,
graphic.
but
I'm just here to post a graphic.
yeah, don't shoot the messenger.
And if it's not Ava, it's one of our two other social girls
Yes,
in
it is one of
Cameron
them.
or Lauren. So
Yes.
yeah, maybe not. Don't harass those three. You can harass these two. These two,
I can take it.
yeah, it'll be all right.
I was called a 2 IQ.
What?
I said somebody
This is
at
the
Penn
Penn
State.
State.
That was Penn State.
Yeah.
Somebody
wasn't
at
it?
Penn State said I had a 2 IQ and that I was a specific animal.
2 IQ monkey.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say. All right.
Why? Why?
I don't know.
It wasn't in that context. But
That's not
yeah,
what I meant.
that's what they said.
I was thinking monkey like when they bang the cymbals together, like
No mental activity.
when there's nothing going on up there and you zoom into the head and it's just the monkey banging the cymbals. That's what I was getting at.
And you were
But-
right the whole time because you were talking about
Yeah.
how Penn State hadn't played anybody
That-
and they weren't getting crap for it, but
that-
Indiana was.
That was when Penn State was number 2 in the country. And I said, they're not number 2 in the country. And they called me a 2 IQ monkey with the cymbals going on in my head. So
And who won that game between Indiana and Penn State?
I don't know.
Remind me
Who did?
again.
I believe it was Omar Cooper.
Wow! Give him the Heisman. Gus Johnson. I bet Gus Johnson is getting more use out of his Indiana spotting boards this year than he ever has in his broadcasting career.
I think
Yeah.
you'd be correct.
Yeah, because
And-
usually it would just be the one time they play Ohio State or Michigan or both in the same year. No, he's used them like 3 or 4 or 5 times this year.
Best part is he doesn't have to do the games here because he hates doing games here because the broadcast booth is understandably
It is terrible.
terrible.
That's got to be the first thing to go is the press box, right?
Yeah.
Has to be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I kind of like the capacity of Memorial Stadium the way it is.
They're not going to increase it.
I wouldn't, because how would you expand anyway? I think if you do anything, make the press box kind of like Autzen Stadium. I don't know if open air is the move, but definitely expand it horizontally. Well, number one, get rid of that awful abomination we have right now. Expand it horizontally and put student radio on the roof, because I like being on the roof.
Aren't you already on the roof?
He says, knowing that he's never calling a game at Memorial Stadium again, but you know, the future of student radio.
They're going to add luxury seats and a new press box first.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's got to be.
Look at me. I have thinking power. Thanks, Penn State fans.
2 IQ.
My goodness.
You know who else has thinking power is Brian Haynes and the entire coaching staff for Indiana. Hence the 13-0 win that happened on Saturday.
Nothing.
13-10. I don't know why I said nothing.
It felt like it.
You know what I read? Because Indiana's 13-0. That's why I said 13-0. Because I'm reading their record, which is right above the score. 13-10 win over the number 1 team in the land, formerly number 1 team in the land. Hence why Indiana is now they're now number 1 for the first time in program history in both the AP poll and college football playoff. First time beating Ohio State since 1988. Ohio State had a 30-game win streak before that. It's the first Big Ten championship game win ever in program history and the first outright Big Ten championship since 1945 for the Indiana Hoosiers. Pretty remarkable day on Saturday, which I know we've covered a little bit, and obviously everyone's thought about it because this is now Wednesday and the game was Saturday, but just to remind you if you didn't know about program records are getting broken a lot here in Bloomington and Indianapolis in the last few days. Shout out Lamar Wilkerson.
Yes.
Some of the stats from Saturday, in case you, for some reason, are unaware at this point. Fernando HeisMendoza was 15 of 23, 223 passing yards, a touchdown, and a pick, and has nearly locked up the Heisman. He is minus 2,500 in the odds, obviously a runaway favorite. Now the runaway favorite is the first overall pick in the NFL draft. And Charlie Becker, 6 receptions for 126 yards, rivaling Jeremiah Smith, the Ohio State #1 receiver. He had a $144, and they were roommates.
Charlie B. from Nashville,
The notes
Tennessee.
The notes that kept being added into the rundown never failed to work, and they were roommates.
Yeah, they were. And Charlie Becker said, I'm roommates with Fernando and Alberto in his post-game interview. It was the reverse.
He did plug it.
It was the reverse roommate thing.
And Elijah Surratt, he was 3 for 37. He was not one of the roommates, but he did score a touchdown because of his amazing connection with Fernando HeisMendoza. His fantastic connection, one could say.
Evidently.
Fernando loves the word fantastic. It's his favorite word.
We'll come back to fantastic.
Can we set a line on how many times he says fantastic in his Heisman acceptance speech?
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
I think Vegas needs to get on
We'll come
that.
back to fantastic.
Good.
It'll be a fantastic 7. We'll just come back. IU rushing was 34 carries for 118 yards. Kalon Black led the Hoosiers 16 for 69, and Roman Hemby 13 for 52. But it was the defense, obviously, that highlighted the day. 5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, and Lou Moore with an interception on the day. It was a great day for the Indiana Hoosiers on that football field. What was it that they were doing right that you guys saw from the press box in the aerial view?
Well, we'll start offensively. I mean, they continued to run the ball even though it didn't work most of the time, but they found gaps later. They were not afraid to throw the ball down the field. I saw a funny video. It was some streamer. I don't know who his name was, but he was making fun of Julian Say, and he was like, what's number 10 doing? Number 15's throwing the ball down the field. What's 10 doing this whole game? And that happened. Yeah, Fernando did not, after he went down on the first play of the game, and 2 plays later, he launched it 50 yards downfield. It was incomplete, but still, it's what he does. And that's how Indiana won the game. Throwing the ball downfield, challenging Ohio State's DBs, which is the major, I shouldn't even say major. It is the weakest link of this Ohio State defense, which still isn't weak at all. But that's how they won the game. Ohio State was conservative, and it backfired. Defensively for Indiana, I mean, they were getting pressure on Sayin. I have a big stat thing later that I'll get into. But back-end coverage was good. Sayin didn't have a lot of time to throw, and yeah, I mean, Indiana's defense is probably the best in the country now.
You two got anything before Ian goes into his big stat thing?
I'd like to know what exactly Bryant Haynes did schematically.
Would you also like to know where Ryan Day is right now?
I want to know where Lou Holtz is right now. That was actually really funny because Lou Holtz is 90 years old. But whatever Bryant Haynes did, and also Ohio State's right guard, Tegra Shabola, had a very bad night. Ohio State fans have apparently not been a fan of his for a while, yet somehow he gets the start. Indiana exploited that weakness. The Hoosiers getting pressure on Sayin consistently made him uncomfortable. And obviously you knew that Jeremiah Smith was going to get his. I thought it was funny, people watching that game be like, who's this little corner they put on Jeremiah Smith? It's so obvious they've never watched Indiana football before Saturday night. It's D'Angelo Pons. He's going to go in the top 2 rounds in the NFL draft, I would say. But whatever Bryant Haynes did confused Julian Sayin a ton. And it was as uncomfortable as Sayin has looked all year, which makes sense because it's the best defense he's faced all year. But even if Indiana's talent might not have on paper been on par with Ohio State, Bryant Haynes, his scheme made up for it in spades because it was very tough sledding for the Buckeyes, and they didn't do themselves any favors either. You get inside the red zone twice and you don't score. Once a missed field goal, once a slip on a 4th and 1 because Sayan lost his footing in the backfield and fell on his face.
Hit the squat rack.
Yeah, it's, you know, great teams don't shoot themselves in the foot like that. And Ohio State did twice. And then we know what happened with Jaden Fielding. But Indiana took advantage of the mistakes, and that's what good teams do.
All right, Ian. Time for your stat.
All right. So I posted this on Twitter. Many people have probably seen it. But this stat is fascinating. Ohio State and Oregon are the 2 best teams that Indiana played this year. And they gave up a total of 25 sacks this year between the 2 of them. Ohio State, 11 sacks given up this year, and Oregon, 14 sacks given up this year. These are both after the Big Ten championship game. Of those 25 sacks, 11 are against Indiana in those 2 games combined. 44% of the sacks that Oregon and Ohio State gave up combined this year are in 2 games against Indiana. Indiana was responsible for 5 of 11 Ohio State sacks allowed and 6 of the 14 Oregon sacks allowed this entire season. And that's both in 1 game each. And that is wild. Indiana's defensive line is not the biggest in the country. It is...
I think we've discussed that plenty.
Oh,
Yes.
no, didn't realize how small and defenselessly... oh, goodness.
And he botched it.
Didn't realize how small and defenseless we'd be. Oh, no, said Bryant Haynes in response to some random student reporter in early October 2025.
I wonder who that was. So, Indiana's defensive line is not the biggest. It is not, recruiting-wise, not the best in terms of star rating and whatnot. But schematically, it's also the entire front 7. It's a secondary as well because Brian Haynes mixes that up too. But Ohio State and Oregon, they had to put on their clown shoes. And they danced for Brian Haynes. And for future opponents, get ready. Even though Stephen Daly is out for the year, in all likelihood, this defensive line will still find a way because it has all year. And Brian Haynes will tell you to put on your clown shoes and dance, and he is not worried. So that was fun. 44% of Ohio State and Oregon sacks this year from Indiana in 2 games.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Clown shoes.
Correct. I would concur with that. Yeah, the Indiana defensive or dominant defense paired with the offense led to them winning plenty of Big Ten awards as well. If I sit here and count, I don't know if I can count that high. It's halfway a joke. I'm kind of halfway serious because there's a lot of awards here. Notably, you can go to Hoosier Network's Instagram account, which Ava has posted a bunch of graphics to, that has a lot of these award winners, but most notably, Offensive Player of the Year, Quarterback of the Year, First Team All-Big Ten, Fernando HeisMendoza. Carter Smith, the Offensive Lineman of the Year, and was a first-teamer. And Nico Radicic, the Kicker of the Year in the Big Ten, also a Special Teams first-teamer, along with 4 players on the defense who were all Big Ten first team. I feel like those are mostly deserved. Of all of them on the list and anyone not on the list, do we have anyone that you think was snubbed?
From all conference Big Ten honors?
That's where I'm at right now.
Daily.
Stephen Daly being honorable mention is ridiculous.
Correct.
He led the country in tackles for loss. 18 and a half in the regular season when after which the awards were voted on. And he wasn't even 3rd team All Big Ten.
He also did it on significantly fewer snaps than everybody else.
Yeah.
Because he was a backup to start the year. Yeah. That's weird.
Any other names that we have in there?
I
I feel otherwise Indiana was pretty well respected. Yeah, Daly, got hosed,
like the
but-
Nowakowski respect a lot. He does so much behind the scenes. Not really behind the scenes, but he does so much that like you don't
that doesn't
notice
show up on the stat sheet.
that. Nowakowski is one of the most important players on this offense. Yeah. So good to see him get respect. 2nd in the media poll, 3rd in the coaches on Big Ten teams.
Former walk-on, by the way.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
No, this list is pretty good on my part. Shout out Mark Langston, first team long snapper.
7th year senior. Elderly man. Mark Langston. Have to break out the walker here soon.
Says the 22-year-old.
Wow.
Wow.
Actually,
He's back.
who does need to break out a walker is apparently Ian Plaskoff when he's filming a package.
All right. We didn't have to go there.
Who else is an elderly man now? Oh, it's Patrick Mahomes. Oh, I think I'm in good company here. I'm just saying. I think we're both old men. We're both past our primes. Let's be honest. Oh, wow.
Hey, Colts are signing Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, speaking of
practice
actually,
squad.
Elderly men.
Kurt Signetti recruited or coached Phillip Rivers, I should say, at NC State.
NC State. When I was at North Carolina State, I coached the quarterback Phillip Rivers. Heard he's back in the NFL now, but yeah, we've always had good quarterbacks, and I think you had something about that. Kurt Signetti's recent track record with quarterbacks.
Yes.
Going back to James Madison.
I posted this on Twitter too. I made a spreadsheet, which is really unlike me, but I did.
What are you in,
Potential
Kelly?
Kelly transfer.
I was gonna say thank you.
No.
No. I stay in media school.
Thank you, Consuela. That's my kryptonite. Yeah, the last 5 years, Kurt Signetti has had 5 different quarterbacks. 3 at James Madison, 2 at Indiana. I just kind of go through it. I mean, this is all posted on my Twitter with all the stats, but like the last 5 years, in 2021, Signetti had Cole Johnson, who passed for 3,800 yards, 41 touchdowns, 4 picks, and ran for 6, and he was the FCS National Player of the Year. 2022, he had Todd Centeio, something like that. I'm not sure. Sunbelt Offensive Player of the Year. In 2023, he had Jordan McLeod, 3,700 yards, 35 passing touchdowns, 8 rushing touchdowns. Sunbelt Player of the Year. Last year, Curtis Rourke, 3,042 yards, 29 touchdowns, 5 picks. All Big Ten second team. And Fernando Mendoza, he'll surpass 3,000 yards in the Rose Bowl. He has 33 passing touchdowns, 6 rushing touchdowns, 13-0 record, and the front runner for the Heisman. So last 5 quarterbacks, FCS National Player of the Year, Sunbelt Offensive Player of the Year, Sunbelt Player of the Year, all Big Ten second teamer, and likely the Heisman Trophy winner. So not bad for Kurt Signetti in his last 5 quarterbacks. So transfer quarterbacks or quarterback recruits, there's your notice. This is a good program to be a quarterback in.
Despite the departure of Tino Sinceri.
Correct. Chandler Whitmer has been
balled out.
Fantastic.
I was looking at ESPN's all-time quarterback leaderboard, and Tino Sinceri has the worst EPA ever on sacks. Negative 38.5 points added in his career on sacks. Expected points added, I should say. In the year 2011. So not his career. 2011, the worst year for any quarterback when it comes to taking away expected points from his team because of sacks.
I'm going to pull a Charles Barkley here and ask who he played for.
Pitt.
Okay.
He ranks 2,680th out of 2,680 qualified quarterbacks. Ouch. I thought that was random.
That is random, but it's good.
It's random. I don't know if I'd call it good. I'd call it terrible.
And also, while we're on the topic of quarterback stats, because the Heisman race, Diego Pavia, Fernando Mendoza, the voting is closed. The campaigning is done. But while we're on it, Fernando Mendoza ran 420 plays this year. Diego Pavia ran 538. So if you see Vanderbilt fans trying to point to volume stats, like Diego Pavia has X amount more yards or X more passing, he averaged, I don't even know if he is a more efficient passer. Fernando Mendoza is ahead of him in QBR. It's very marginal, though. But Diego Pavia has run 118 more plays than Fernando Mendoza, despite playing 1 less game. And I know that was something Vanderbilt fans were pointing to. Mendoza played 13 games. Actually, he only finished about 7 of those games. His brother was in, or Grant Wilson was in at the end. So you can't go to raw numbers looking at Fernando Mendoza versus Diego Pavia because he ran over 100 fewer plays. I know critical thinking is difficult for some folks down south in Nashville, but it's worth keeping in mind.
Isn't Vanderbilt like the Harvard of the South, though? Is that
That's
what
what
they
they
call
say.
it?
To
Yeah.
be. Although how Diego Pavia got in there, I have no in there. I have no idea. Diego Pavia. That's probably how Kurt Signetti would say his name.
Diego Pavia is to Johnny Manziel what Dylan Raiola is to Patrick Mahomes.
Oh
God, no, what have I done?
He said Patrick Mahomes. Oh, he's my favorite quarterback. Oh. No, you're right, though. Diego Pavia is the Dylan Raiola of Johnny Manziel's.
That's a good one.
That's actually really good.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I like that. And by the way, Johnny Manziel called out Fernando Mendoza and said, So fade balls give you the Heisman now or something like that? Which is spoken like somebody who, like most of the country before Saturday, had never seen Fernando Mendoza play football. And also Johnny Manziel, failed NFL quarterback because of his own doing. I don't think he's the one to be the arbiter of anything, to be honest.
And if we want to play the stats argument here, we'll just read off. Should I just read off the numbers? Let's assume who's who.
Oh, like a blind ranking?
Yeah, we'll do it like that.
Yeah.
So one guy, he's got a 71 completion percentage. He's got over 3,000 yards, we'll say. He's got 27 touchdowns, 8 picks, has taken 18 sacks, and has a 171 QBR. Contested
With a team record of what?
not 13-0.
Okay.
Contested 2 has a 71.5 completion percentage, 20 yards less than 3,000. The other guy's at well, be specific. The other guy's at 31. The other guy's 20 yards under 3,000. He's got 33 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, also taken 18 sacks, and a 181 QBR, but is undefeated, won his conference. So, I don't know who you'd rather have.
Have you considered the fact that we are too turned? Will Stewart? Have you considered the fact that only one of those quarterbacks has had his brother get arrested at a game?
What did the other quarterback's brother do?
Take the field while he was getting evaluated for a potential concussion.
And
Or
told
maybe just
Nathan
catching
Fisher
his
he was going
breath.
to go sling the rock.
Yeah. Just catching his breath. I don't think that Fernando was actually getting evaluated for a concussion. Interesting. Now, tell me, how many meaningful games did the quarterback not with a 71.5% completion percentage win?
I think it's like 10.
How many meaningful games?
Oh.
0.
Let's see. No, they beat number 19 Tennessee on the road.
Tennessee should not have been ranked.
They beat them on
Doesn't
the road.
count.
They beat number 15 Missouri.
Nah, should not have been ranked.
Uh,
I think we can all agree Tennessee
they,
Mizzou.
they beat
LSU.
They beat 1952 SEC champions at South Carolina or whatever.
Yeah. They beat 2019 undefeated national champion, best team ever, LSU.
Oh, they beat 2019 national champion LSU.
No, they beat the same program.
Same program.
You get my point.
Yeah.
You get my point. Pavia had chances.
Beat Auburn in overtime.
Who did he lose to?
Alabama
He beat Auburn
and
in
Texas.
overtime.
Alabama and Texas.
Wow. Lost to Texas, who missed the playoff because they pooped their pants against Florida. Lost to Alabama, who shouldn't be in the playoff. Rushed for like 2 yards against Georgia. Got mauled in that game.
They also beat Georgia earlier, so there's that.
Meanwhile,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
true. That's
contestant number 1 has beaten Oregon on the road, has beaten Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game, went on the road and beat Penn State, went on the road and beat Iowa, and I don't think he's lost to anybody yet this season.
Is
Pretty
that
notable.
right?
And also has led 3 game-winning drives in the fourth quarter and outplayed another Heisman candidate in the Big Ten championship game.
Does he potentially have a fantastic LinkedIn page?
Fantastic. I think it's phenomenal. That's his new thing.
I saw a Vanderbilt fan say that Diego Pavia would never give an interview like Fernando Mendoza did at the end of the Big Ten championship game. And my response to that is, well, you're right, because Diego Pavia would never be in a conference championship game with a chance to give that interview. Diego Pavia is this year's Bo Nix when it comes to the Heisman race. I said this like a month ago. You have 2 quarterbacks at the top who are the clear favorites, a la Jaden Daniels and Michael Penix, Mendoza and Julian Sayin. A non-quarterback who has a case but won't win it, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jeremiah Love. And then another quarterback who's just going to be happy to be there, Bo Nix, Diego Pavia. I think that's the way this Heisman race played out.
You could argue that Diego Pavia should win the Heisman because of the transitive property of Indiana would not be 13-0 without him because of the Diego Pavia ruling, which allowed Lewis Moore to play for Indiana, which allowed him to get a pick, which allowed Indiana to win the Big Ten championship game, and Lewis Moore to get 6 picks this year. So Diego Pavia for the Heisman.
I did not follow that at all.
Those were 2 independent court cases.
Oh, never mind.
So no.
The Pavia rule is widespread, but I guess
Your
Lewis
motion
is
has
not.
been stricken
Lewis
in Plaskoff.
Moore's
Motion does
dismissed.
not exist.
I actually took a class about case law. Lewis Moore's case also had to do with the fact that he was injured for a year, whereas
Oh, I
Pavia
see.
is just old.
You know what it was? I
the
was thinking
unction.
about the. I'm on the call for a women's basketball game tomorrow with Louisiana Monroe, and
General Booty.
They just hired a coach from a JUCO school, and he's bringing all of his players there, and they're all utilizing the Pavia rule to go to ULM for this.
Why?
year.
Okay, so Pavia, games played by a year 8, 13, 12, 15, 13, 12.
How many years was that?
He started in 2020. This is his 6th year of college football, but in every year he has played at least 8 games. Usually the redshirt rule, at least in Division I, is 4 games plus the postseason, as we know. But the thing about Pavia is that, first of all, JUCO years probably should have counted for him, and they count for everybody else. And you've actually heard some JUCO players chime in and just say, "Hey, dude, get a job." But Pavia played 21 games at the JUCO level, and then went to New Mexico State in 2022. 12 games, 15 games, 13 games, 12 games at the Division I level. So you total up all of his college career. He has played 73 games of college football. 73 games. Bo Nix, by comparison, played 61. And he was considered a dinosaur because he was pretty old, but he played 5 seasons. He had the COVID year. He had something that everybody got. Nix played 61 games over 5 years because he happened to be a 5-year starter. Pavia played 12 more games than Bo Nix so far. And people sincerely think that he should have been allowed to play college football this year, but also that he deserves the Heisman, which is just laughable.
Yeah.
Well, notably too, Pavia did win the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award. And going back through it, I'm looking at the winners, and there seems to be a trend of more than not, the winner of the Golden Arm Award was usually the runner-up for the Heisman. Now, the current exceptions I've noticed is Jaden Daniels, because he was a runaway favorite, and
Even
Joe
though
Burrow.
he also stat padded against bad teams.
Right, and Joe Burrow also a runaway favorite. Otherwise, it's a lot of runner-ups. It's not a lot of guys who actually won the Heisman.
Interesting.
Like even back to 2016, it was Deshaun, and he was the runner-up to
Max
Lamar.
Duggan won the Golden Arm in 2022.
Duggan won it, and he was a runner-up to Devontae Smith.
Kenny Pickett in 21, him and his tiny hands.
He wasn't even a finalist. So
Michael McCorkle-Jones in 2020.
there might be the trend of, hey, we'll give him an award because he was a great quarterback this year, but he does not win the granddaddy of them all.
Why did I not know that Mason Rudolph went to Oklahoma State?
I just found that out too.
Yeah, I did not know that, but he threw for almost 5,000 yards. And that's another thing when people compare past Heisman winners, the raw numbers, like Burrow in 2019 throwing for 5,671 yards.
5,000 and what?
Not
Over
doing
600 yards.
It's another thing when you compare the raw numbers. College football is a completely different game now than it used to be. As we know, the clock no longer.
College football
Just
is a
football in
different sport
general.
than 7 years ago.
We've seen an overall shift to more dink and dunk, and Indiana runs a ton of RPO. It's short plays primarily, and occasionally Indiana takes a shot. But college football is a fundamentally different game than it was even 5 years ago. The clock doesn't stop on first downs anymore except for inside of 2 minutes, which means that you get fewer possessions, which means that quarterbacks get less time to accumulate raw numbers, let alone the schematic adjustments, right? There's more of a focus in college and the NFL on efficiency rather than airing the ball out 10 times a game, because that's high risk. And you don't want to take risks with the football, especially if teams are having overall less time to get the ball down the field over the course of a game. I don't understand how you can compare Heisman winners across multiple seasons as if it's a one-to-one comparison with just raw numbers. Because I think you'd have to go to some sort of more advanced metric, maybe expected points added. I don't know. I like EPA. I think it's good. Opponent adjusted EPA would be nice, because that gives you a really good idea of where players and teams stand. But no, you cannot compare Fernando Mendoza to 2019 Joe Burrow, because they played two completely different sports. Not to mention Burrow was surrounded by NFL talent that can, kind of like Julian Sayin at Ohio State, right? Jeremiah Smith will probably be more successful in the NFL than any Indiana receiver on this team, just because he's so physically gifted. So I think you got to account for that as well.
What about Charlie Becker?
That I don't know. I don't know.
I was thinking about this. It was kind of the point that you made earlier. If there are casual college football fans that only watch the national TV games and have only tuned in to watch Indiana and like against Ohio State and like the Penn State game at the end.
Yeah, if they were watching nationally, I would have saw Illinois and Oregon.
This is for my point.
Oh,
I'm saying second half of the season.
I'm hurting the agenda.
Second half of the season.
I'm hurting the agenda.
If there are casual college football fans that didn't watch the first half of the season, only watch the second half of the season, and only watch national games, they probably think Charlie Becker's the best receiver in the country. Because against Penn State, he had 7 for 108. And against Ohio State, he had, what?
6 for a buck.
6 for 126.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, just a thought.
And just the catches that he made, like against Penn State and Ohio State, to end up with those stat lines were absurd.
But Fernando can't throw the ball downfield.
Fernando Noodle Arm Mendoza. You're right. Brian Buckeyes stats. What the hell, man? I mean, really? Fernando Mendoza can't throw the ball down the field? Did you watch him play at all before the Big Ten Championship? Obviously, the answer is no, because you're just looking at the numbers. According to my spreadsheets, Fernando Mendoza has less than 3,000 yards, which makes he has a noodle arm and he can't throw the deep ball.
Nick, I'm going to cut you off. I hate to break it to you. Your whole point was invalidated because Colin was behind you in the window and just totally distracted being Plaskoff. He's gone now. But as soon as you pointed and he showed up, and it was just everything was out the window.
You were on a roll, though.
In all seriousness, what are we doing? Fernando Mendoza can't throw the deep ball. Okay, go back and watch him against Michigan State, because he threw a great deep ball to Elijah Surratt against Michigan State. Go back to UCLA when he threw a beautiful ball rolling out with a guy rushing right at his face. He got blown up. It was like a 60-yard touchdown pass to E.J. Williams. He can't throw the deep ball.
Not to mention the amount of hole shots he hits against cover 2.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But sorry, Brian Buckeyes stats said Fernando Mendoza can't throw the deep ball. I guess he's just going to have to check it down every time.
Right.
What
that
are we
seems
doing?
awfully familiar. Where do we see quarterbacks checking it down to good receivers all the
In the National Football League?
Oh, I was thinking about Julian Saying.
Oh, yeah, Julian
I think he was
Saying.
going back to, throwing curl routes to Jeremiah
Yeah,
Smith
which,
one game.
yeah, Jeremiah Smith was always going to get his. But by and large, D'Angelo Pons shut him down in the red zone a couple times. Also, Julian Saying, I think his decision-making was a little off, which again goes back to Mr. Clown Shoes, Brian Haynes, who I wish I knew more about defensive scheming, because whatever Haynes did, kind of like what he did against Dante Moore in Oregon, it worked. And I expect him to cook up even more in the Rose Bowl and beyond that, because he is a Broyles Award finalist now. That's been announced. He'll probably win it this year. He's a finalist last year. I think he lost out to Al Golden of Notre Dame. But speaking of Oregon, their banter with James Madison fans this week has been very funny to watch.
Like the stuff about Dan Lanning being 2-3 against purple and gold teams.
JMU Sports News is on an absolute heater right now, yeah. Also, Oregon has not beaten a Sun Belt team this year. James Madison is 9-0 against the Sun Belt. Makes you think.
Surely.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
Reflective period. That was my favorite Nick rant of the year.
I've had a lot of them.
That one was my favorite.
Put it on a pedestal.
You Colin in the background doing whatever he was doing.
Yeah.
And then you go
the whole
full
point.
on according to my calculations. That was good. I enjoyed that.
One more from JMU Sports News. Texas Tech is one of the best teams in the country. Their defense is scary good. JMU football has to consider resting some of its banged up starters against Oregon. The Dukes need all hands on deck in the quarterfinals.
James Madison's a wonderful fan base.
Nick, back to your point about the defensive schemes. From what I've seen that Haynes did that confused Saying, it was a lot of inverted coverages. So instead of having both safeties drop into cover 2, we'd have whoever's on the wide side would just bail. So if it was Pons on the wide side of the field, he would just bail into coverage. That's why you saw so many curls from Jeremiah Smith, because
take what the defense gives you.
Right. Whoever was calling plays for Ohio State, I forget who their offensive
Brian
coordinator is.
Hartline, who has one foot out the door into South Florida and
Currently,
probably
he
should
has
just
both.
leave.
Well,
He is in South
Hartline,
Florida right now.
He should just leave.
he noticed that they were doing it was a lot of inverted coverages, a lot of zone coverage over top, And he said, all right, Jeremiah, you're just going to run curl routes for the entire first quarter because Pons is in bracket coverage and giving it up, which is why the numbers against Pons look so bad against him. But in reality, it was really, there was probably 5 targets when he was in man, 3 of them being the red zone balls that all ended up out of bounds and or incomplete. And then obviously the deep shot and the one where Jeremiah just absolutely manhandled him on like a 20-yard fade, which was disgusting.
Yeah.
That happened, and I was in disgust at the fact he caught that football and the way he treated Ponce in that play. So, in all actuality, if you go back and watch the film of it, Ponce held his own as well. It was just a lot of zone coverage in the beginning of the game when Jeremiah had probably 5 or 6 of his 8 receptions on the day.
To be expected. Indiana plays zone more than most teams in
Right.
the country.
And
Also-
Hartline noticed it.
How about that play in the end zone from Elijah Hardy?
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
wow.
Lockdown.
supposed to be a running back
Saying-
screen.
Important.
Sayan had the bootleg rolling all game long, and his play fake was really good. Aaron Rodgers-esque, kiting the football and flipping the hips going around. Elijah Hardy was on that tight end. That was just beautiful.
I believe it was Max Clare.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and if Sayan had Jackson open for a bit on that play, didn't throw it because he wanted the end zone.
He
and
wanted a touchdown throw.
Elijah Hardy just stuck to him like glue the whole time.
And
True
then-
sophomore, 0-star recruit, by the way. 0-star recruit. Indiana's blue chip ratio. Somebody dug this up. Like the lowest blue chip ratio for a 1 seed in the playoff was Clemson at just under 50%. Indiana's at 8%.
Blue chip is 4 and
They
5.
have
4 and 5 stars.
They have a
Yeah.
blue chip?
Byron Baldwin.
Right. And he doesn't even play.
And he barely plays. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had some snaps when the secondary was dropping like flies against Ohio State, but he barely played.
Omar was a 4-star.
Yes, he was.
Really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Tom Allen recruited Omar Cooper and he recruited Charlie Becker.
Shout
Credit
out.
where credit's
He
due.
could recruit.
Credit where credit's due. He could recruit, but he couldn't coach.
I mean, you think about other guys too, like Isaiah Jones was a Tom Allen recruit, Lou Moore, Carter Smith,
Khalil Benson,
Khalil Benson, yep, Bray Lynch,
Jeff Utzinger.
Jeff Utzinger,
Let's
yep.
go. Nico Radicic.
Radicic was, yeah.
Yeah, it's 21 guys. Somebody made a post about it.
There are like certified role players, like good players on this team that are from the Tom Allen era, and there are a lot of them. And that says more about the talent evaluation because Kurt Signetti's staff saw the guys that he wanted to keep and kept them, and saw the guys that he wanted to let go, and he let them go, and it worked out.
And I was sitting there when Hardy made that play in the end zone. I was ready to go because we had the email already from who to vote for the Big Ten Championship MVP. I was ready to go vote for Elijah Hardy.
I did just that, actually.
Why did I not get that email?
I don't.
I
Dang.
don't
Dunked
know.
on.
Mine was Charlie Becker.
That's fair.
Yeah, obviously it's going to be the quarterback because MVP is a
Yeah.
quarterback award, but Becker definitely has a case.
I was going
He's
over.
gonna be really fun to watch as he continues to develop. I really like him, like what we've seen of him.
True sophomore, by the way.
I was going over the MVP stuff with Ava and with Josh Pose because that was our little trio up in the press box. I was like, I don't know who to vote for right now. And then Elijah makes the play, and I'm like, yep, that's him. And I put in my ballot for
That's what I would
Elijah.
have done.
And then immediately after, Fielding misses the field goal. Charlie Becker makes the 33-yard catch, and I'm like, oh man, it should have been Charlie Becker.
It was
Yeah.
really difficult to do because you couldn't. Voting opened in the fourth quarter and it ended 5 minutes before the fourth quarter ended. So if anything major were to happen in those 5 minutes, granted, like it's going to the quarterback, but like you couldn't change your vote.
Yeah,
I still would have voted for Hardy if I actually put a vote in.
he had like 10 tackles, a tackle for loss, a sack, or more like 1.5 tackles for
I
loss,
think it was more than one.
and then he
one.
had the PBU. He was all over the place.
It was a great day from one Elijah Hardy. He seems to have a lot of those in a row now, doesn't he? He was all over the field in Purdue too.
Indiana's
making plays
linebackers are the
last
best in
year.
the country.
Yeah, he was. He's one guy who was forced his way into the linebacker room and rotation. Yeah, sack, tackle, 1.5 tackle for loss, 6 solos, 10 total on the day.
Hey, I was right.
Not a bad. Yeah, he nailed it. Literally, not a bad day for Elijah Hardy. And now for the biggest thing that we haven't talked about, the college football playoff bracket.
Real quick,
One.
before the bracket, Jalen Lucas just tweeted a video of him returning kicks in an IU uniform.
He is in the transfer portal.
He's still playing?
Yeah, he's a redshirt junior.
I
So
actually
he's got,
just saw
like, a
that
year.
when
Oh,
I was
look at that. There it is.
scrolling in my computer.
He's a redshirt junior because he got injured his first year at Florida State when they went 2-10. Jalen Lucas has one more year of eligibility.
Yeah, literally announced 30 minutes to an hour ago that he plans to enter the transfer portal.
He posted highlights, and they're all Indiana highlights up until it's a 2-minute, 19-second video up until 2:05, where it's a Florida State run. But 2 minutes of Indiana highlights, and he says, built for moments like this.
Well, I wonder if he just wasn't used that much at Florida State, to be
He
entirely
was not.
honest with
No,
you.
he
so
wasn't.
that's probably why the video is all Indiana highlights, to be fair.
And also, Florida State is an absolute train wreck.
Yeah.
I don't know how Mike Norvell is still employed.
Buyout money, probably.
You know what's not a
Yeah.
train wreck? The Indiana football program.
Yeah,
The number one
that's it.
team in the land, going to the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day. They will play the winner of the 8-9 matchup, which at the moment is Oklahoma and Alabama. And I do not feel like watching film, so I do not have a preview for either of those teams.
We got 3 weeks.
That will be a later date issue. Shout out finals week next week and all the projects that I've had before finals week. Notably, other big teams in the playoff is Ohio State at number 2. They will be going to the Cotton Bowl. And Oregon at number 5 will play number 12, JMU, as we covered that a little bit. And they will face number 4, Texas Tech, with the win. And apparently JMU has to rest their starters because they're worried about Texas Tech. And I think my favorite thing amongst the entire bracket, because I've kind of thrown my little jabs in all year of the AP poll with Notre Dame being ranked where they've been. That was the entire reason I did that. And now they don't even make the playoff. Join a conference. You're not better than everybody.
Rutgers makes more TV money than you. It's true.
Some people call it the Ethan Kaliakmanis effect.
Rutgers makes more TV money from the Big Ten deal than Notre Dame makes on its private NBC deal.
But
yes.
but we're exclusive.
the private
we're on the NBC and the private media deal. Oh, yes.
Wow.
Colin McMahon's back.
Hi, Colin.
Colin
He
was
definitely
busy.
just said something inappropriate.
Yeah, I have no
I don't
idea
know.
what Colin's
Yeah.
saying.
Might have to blur that.
He probably said they were roommates. That's what
Oh,
he said,
yeah.
right?
Probably.
Absolutely said that.
He says that a
Um,
lot.
But yes, Notre Dame, I'm in full agreement.
Join a conference.
Oh, yes, our TV deal on NBC is better than your Big Ten conference deal. Oh, no. Join a conference.
Well,
And then you wimp out of the playoff or the bowl game. When you
yeah.
have
Who doesn't want to play in a bowl game?
you could have played in the Pop-Tart Bowl. That's the best bowl game.
You know,
That is the
it's
best bowl
funny
game.
because the Catholic faith centers around a figure that went down for a while and then came back up and was celebrated by everybody. Sounds not too dissimilar to the Pop-Tart mascot going down into the toaster and then coming back up and everybody's all hyped up. What, Notre Dame, you're too big for the Pop-Tart Bowl now?
They
BYU's
even-
not.
They even added more Pop-Tarts this year.
There are
amazing.
5
Pop-Tarts?
Pop-Tarts.
There's like 5 or 6 Pop-Tarts, yeah.
5,
They have
6.
teams. They have teams. It's a
Don't.
whole thing.
Sorry.
It's a whole thing. You
Teams?
just
Pop-Tart teams?
I think so. And
I've
you
been
just
playing trios in Pop-Tart land.
You just opted out of that? Like, man.
You don't get to play on a football field where they put sprinkles on the sideline.
No, it's not even the sprinkle. You don't get to play on a football field again this year because you're too good for a bowl game.
Play like a champion today until you don't get what you want and then quit.
Make
That's a good
that
way
the
to
new
put it.
sign.
Sure, Georgia Tech's happy.
I'm sure all the reverse jacket fans, they can spray paint their sign to say that now.
Quit
Anyways,
like a champion. Today.
back to the actual teams in the playoff. Looking at everyone's path, who does have the easiest path on this bracket in your all's opinions?
Oregon,
Just flat out.
flat out.
Have any reasoning?
Let me pull up a bracket.
What if they sandbag that game against Indiana to get the 5 seed? You think Oregon has an easy path?
Yes.
Texas Tech is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because
I think Indiana has an easy
path. Thing. Because can you scroll back up?
I was going to go Indiana too. Not gonna lie.
So Oregon has to play James Madison, and then they have to go play Texas Tech, and then you're probably getting an Indiana-Oregon rematch. It's hard to beat the same team twice. I do believe in my Hoosiers. Don't take that wrong, but I just think like up until they get into that Indiana game, I think that it's an easy path, and like I said, like it's hard to beat the same team twice in a season. Not that I don't think Indiana could do it, but still.
I think Indiana's path is fairly easy. The first round, the Rose Bowl, that could not have been a better draw.
The first round's pretty easy.
That could not have been a better draw. But that's what you expect with the 8-9.
I mean, the first
in a
round's
year
a
like
bye.
this. Yeah. Oregon, Texas Tech, whoever wins that, Indiana probably wants to see Texas Tech. With Oregon, you don't really want to see them twice. I think Ohio State's path is really easy. Miami or Texas A&M. I think Miami could beat Texas A&M.
That's a statement.
Both of those teams are beatable.
Yeah, but both those teams are beatable.
Yeah.
And Georgia, Gunnar Stockton does not wow me. I know Georgia's a 12-win team with a SEC championship, but like they're not the same Georgia. It just
No,
doesn't
Hottie
feel like
Toddy
it.
is Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
That's what
Okay.
I'm getting at.
Okay.
Ole Miss will beat Tulane. Who knows? I mean, new head coach. It could be good. It could be bad. We don't know. Yeah, I think Oregon's path is pretty good. Indiana should have a pretty good path out of the Rose Bowl to the Peach Bowl. But I think Ohio State has a really easy path all the way to the championship.
I think what will trip Oregon up and what might slow them down though is the fact that they'll go to Miami, rendering they beat JMU. They'll go to Miami, they'll go back to Oregon, and then they'll go back to Georgia the week after. So they're flying, I mean, quite literally, they're in the air more than they're on the ground. And I think that, and they're changing time zones, and I think that could affect them in that sense, but it might not. Who knows? I just think it's something to think about.
That could also impact fan turnout too.
Yeah.
Colin
For sure.
left his camera in here, so now Colin's in the window screaming at us.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Colin's in the window screaming. So Ian, put his stuff outside the door.
Okay.
Colin
Anyways,
McMahon, everybody.
but that's my thoughts about it. But I do think that Indiana has a good draw with the Oklahoma, Alabama in the Rose Bowl. And I seemingly think that a lot of Indiana fans will come out for that. And then rendering, if they win, they go to the Peach Bowl against either JMU, Oregon, or Texas Tech. Who knows? But it's an interesting bracket nonetheless.
I cannot wait for the discourse, regardless of who wins the Oklahoma-Alabama game. That white boy Rick, another hypothetical win for the SEC meme is going to get plastered everywhere. Indiana, as of now, is favored by at least 6 points over either of those teams. And I am actually, we're getting our wish, right? Because we've said throughout the season, I would love to see Indiana play an SEC team in the playoff. And that's exactly what we're guaranteed to get now. It's going to be a very exciting day in Pasadena.
The people want Alabama. I mean, by the people,
Alabama.
I mean the students at least. You hear a lot of people saying we want Bama. Nick Abel, who I do Hoosier Game Day with, has not stopped talking about how he wants Alabama. I think he started talking about it in October. The people want Bama. I'd say that would be the people's game, but I'd be happy with
Give me
either.
Alabama.
It would also be fun because Kalen DeBoer and Kane Womack, obviously,
There's so many storylines with that
ties to
game. It's not even
Indiana.
funny.
Yeah.
I'm back.
How was your journey?
Great.
Welcome.
Little camera delivery in the middle of
In the middle,
Rock.
near
Yeah.
the end. We've kind of covered the bracket. I think that's really all there is to cover. Apart from the ever important playoff record prediction update.
Oh boy.
Because the only reason it matters is because I'm in first.
Front runner. Just
You're
kidding.
in first? Are we not tied?
Did you have the margin?
I don't know.
What was your score? I thought
I
you
don't
didn't have the
remember.
margin.
Oh boy, controversy.
I don't
Hey,
think
if
she
you
has-
can't remember your score does not count. Your points do not count.
We just make up rules.
Everybody
on the
has
fly
0.
here.
And then as a penalty for not knowing your score, Nick and I both get 1.
Ooh, I like that.
So now we have the lead.
So you're making up things on the fly because you're upset that you didn't win the regular season championship. I see what's going on.
All that matters is I showed up in the playoffs. Anyways, the record prediction update, the playoff edition, postseason edition. I'm in first with 3 points because I had Indiana and I had the 3-point margin differential. Shout out. Ava is in second.
I did not have a margin differential. Damn.
Yeah,
You had one, it was just
it
incorrect.
just wasn't right.
Okay.
Ava's in second. She's got a point. I have
Alright.
3, notably. And then these guys.
Big old goose egg. But hey,
Hey, what's new?
we're covering a game at the
Nick's in
Rose Bowl.
last.
I'm technically up to third because we're tied. I'm not last for the first time since week 1. And you know
Fast,
what?
physical, and relentless in the playoffs.
I'm going to do what the Colts did when they made the AFC Championship in 2014, and I'm going to hang a banner. Not last in the score prediction standings 2025-26.
Record
the
prediction comp
playoff.
finalist, Nick Rodecap.
Finalist.
I am not mad. I said Ohio State would win, but now I get to cover a game at the Rose Bowl and work on student radio for it. So I'll take my 0 points. It's okay.
What a tragedy. The tough life of Ian
Oh,
Plaskoff.
no.
I'm gonna make a shameless plug real quick. I will be in New York this weekend for the Heisman, so make sure that you're following me for Heisman content and the Hoosier Network account because I'll be posting a lot of Heisman content there.
And
I'll
if
be
you're
live in person.
and
And
if
make
you're,
sure to follow along with the Hoosier Network for all your Indiana athletics updates and needs.
if you're not too invested in that, because why would you be? I say sarcastically. Tune in to Big Ten Plus on Sunday to watch Indiana women's basketball against Eastern Michigan. Because I'll have the call, and there is nothing else important going on at 1 p.m. on Sunday.
Surely.
Actually, the Colts play at 4:25, don't they?
I don't know.
They play
Anyways,
at
it's the
4:25,
season's
so I'm
over.
right. No, Philip Rivers is back
The season's over.
at the ripe young age of 44.
He is a literal grandfather.
And
All right, since
Brett
this is
Favre-
Indiana football
Brett
and not
Favre
Colts
was a
football,
grandfather. Oh, you muted.
thank you all for joining the Hoosier Network.
Wow.
For all your Indiana athletics updates and needs, make sure to follow along with all of us. I'm your host, William Stewart. Next to me is the muted Ian Plaskoff. Across from us, Ava Wegenke, and the muted Nick Rodecap.
Woke nonsense. That's what that is. I know you can hear me.
Yeah, I can unfortunately hear him too much. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see y'all next week. Or actually, we won't see you next week. We're taking next week off.
We will be.
It's finals week.
We'll see y'all next week, or at least in a few.